Hello, everybody. Hello, friends, old and new. Welcome to the show today. I'm really excited about our guest that we're going to have because I've often heard people talk about awakenings. It's such a buzzword you hear all the time on the internet, social media, YouTube channel, websites, spiritual groups, books. What exactly does this word mean? What exactly does it mean to be the awakened one, or to wake up, or to live the awakened life? So I really wanted to look at this further and explore it through the story of a woman who's here today as our guest, who inspires others to wake up to their beautiful spirit within. So welcome to Creative Visions TV. I'm your host, Karen Dahlman, and thank you for joining us here today. So let me tell you a little bit more about our guest we're going to have today. I'm super excited for number one. She's a very busy woman, booked all the time with her readings. And in fact, we had to kind of work out a schedule to get her on. So I'm really much gratitude to her for coming on the show today and squeezing us into her schedule. So from early childhood, this guest of ours, she always was able to communicate and see spirit, other spirit beings, and especially to see loved ones. She spoke often to her grandfather, but at a younger age, with not people really understanding this, her not fully getting it either, she had to shut it down. It wasn't really accepted back then. So she shut herself down, yet she started living in her life in a corporate America. She was a finance manager, successful job, living the dream, the American dream. And then in 2012, fast forward, she decided that it was really important for her now to look at her spiritual journey, look at her own path, and live the authentic life, what that meant to her. So another reason why I brought her on the show is she's going to talk to us about how to authentically open up to who you truly are. She's very gifted in this. In fact, in 2016, she left corporate America and went on her own full-time as a reader. Now, she's a very special reader because she's like you would call her a spiritual alchemist. She helps people transform through the reading she gives, but also through the energy work she gives as well. And her energy works on many different multiple levels of beings and energies and dimensions. And listen, I've experienced her first-handedly, so I'm here to say this is really cool stuff and awesome healing work that she does. So I'm not going to hold her back anymore. We're going to bring her out right now. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Andrea Dawn to the show. Welcome, Andrea.
Hello.
Hello, so great to have you here today. Thank you for squeezing us in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited.
Well, you bet. You guys, I got to tell you, we met a year ago and we became fast friends. We met in 2016 in Brazil at John of God. And what did you think about that experience?
That was something else. That was an amazing experience. Just coming off of the no longer going to be in corporate America mentality. When I got the pink slip in June, and then my daughter was getting married, and then I'd already planned to go to Brazil. So I felt like, wow, I'm taking this great vacation at the most perfect time. So I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really let go there.
Yeah, I think that was a time and a place, we could probably share this with the audience a little bit, where you do disconnect, you take yourself off the phone. I mean, we're so used to just, iPhones all the time, blah, 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 blah. But you disconnect, and it's nice because then you connect within, and yeah, that was a powerful time, really powerful people. Yeah. And I've got to say, I met you there and I met a few other ladies, and because of the connections we had there, we got to travel to Sedona together just really recently.
We did. We had our little mini reunion, and it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, that was a fabulous trip. And of course, the universe playing it out the way that it did Divine Time, that we went right at the opening of Lionsgate. The eclipse energy was building up, and of course Sedona on top of just vortexes and energy and spirituality galore everywhere. It was just like walking in our own dimensions. We were just like, woo, higher than freaking kites,
It's so true. And I remember when we were in Angel Valley, we took our time alone, and we all went and kind of crafted and co-created our world, like you said, in other dimensions, and we came back and spoke about it later, and we all had such unique experiences. Yes. But that was such an opening time for me, being in Angel Valley. How about you?
Yes, and also having my workshop the week after, so going there twice within a 2-week period was unbelievable, and getting completely two different messages. And that labyrinth in Angel Valley is just an amazing vortex, really. It is its own vortex. So you have to, anybody who's going to Sedona should go to Angel Valley to experience that labyrinth and the property itself.
Yeah, it's kind of a kind of kept secret, isn't it? Not too many people know about it, and I didn't. I've been there several times and had never been there, and I got to say, some of the most amazing things happened while I was there. In fact, I'll share with the audience. I haven't told you guys yet, and Andrea knows about this. When I was walking the larger labyrinth, which is recreated after the famous labyrinth in, I think is it France?
Yes.
It's in one of the big cathedrals, right? And they walk it, the nuns and priests, and everybody can walk it. I had an incredible experience of being able to connect with a group of beings that used to work with me as a child called the Guardians. And the Guardians emerged with me from that labyrinth, and now they're communicating with me. It's another group of beings that I'm working with. And if you guys come to my live show, they may come through. I don't know. But anyway, it's a new group. And so there's so many magical things happen. You know what? Let's share with them about our lights we saw in the sky. Those were pretty phenomenal.
Oh, those were amazing.
Cheers to you.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Gosh, what the very first night, that was looking at the, well, now they know it's a portal.
Yes.
The star that we saw. Oh my gosh, I just blanked on the...
are you talking about Sirius? Or which one?
Sirius. Yes, it was Sirius. Remember, we were seeing all the lights going around and in, out, and... that one was truly amazing. And then we had, we had the big flash right before us, this perfect line before the meteorite show started. And it was so close.
Yeah, this is like a night or two before the meteorites shower. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's 3 nights before. Yeah. So we were not even close to that. And that was amazing. It was gold, and, it had this trail, but then it just stopped remember it had that break, and then it just it again. It was like
we saw it a couple times. It was huge, and you knew it was not an airplane. It was on the opposite side where the air flight patterns are, and it wasn't a falling star, because those come down like that or like this. This one shot straight across you guys with a tail, like she's, and it came twice.
Yeah,
she and I were like, what? Well, it was magical.
Amazing. Magical. It was magical. And you say that, and I really want to just say, these are all the time. The magical and miracle moments should be moment by moment, not this time where we say, oh, I just experienced this, and it's, once a month or once a week. This is the time the energy is rising. We should be feeling miracles happening and magical moments happening, because that should be a part of who we are, not something separate. This is how it is.
I love that. And so that goes right into our topic today of awakenings. And explain how this idea of what I usually call miracles, I call it a natural way of being, that we just call miracles. We don't always notice them when they happen, right? Synchronistic stuff. So talk to us about these awakenings and how, I guess I'd like to start with your definition of awakening, and then your own awakening process.
Yes. Awakening is at any little spark in your life that your soul is crying out. And I say crying out because that's what it feels like right now. That all the people that come to my sessions, my one-on-ones, my group sessions, they're all there for a reason. And that reason is their soul is saying, hey, knock, knock, it's time. Something you wanted me to remind you at this time in your life. You wanted to awaken to something more. And what is that more? Is it the American dream? And what is that purpose of living this American dream where we go to work, we go to vacation, we buy the house, we buy the cars, we have the kids, and then we retire? That's the American dream? Been there, done that. And
right, me too.
Right? And so now that I've had my own spiritual awakening, and yes, I've had this gift since, I specifically know that my grandfather started coming to me when I was 5 years old. And I was in my room, and it was always the cold room. Now we all know why. And so at that time I was already hearing voices, and so him talking to me was no big deal. Growing up in the dysfunctional home, I had fear. With the abuses that I was experiencing, I just lived in fear. my grandmother was deemed crazy, and my great-grandmother, my mother used to talk about how crazy my grandma was. And I mean, we really didn't see my grandmother very often. And so I just shut it down. I didn't tell anybody. I mean, nobody. And so going through my life thinking, oh, I never had any experience of, no. I just had my rebellious teens, got married at 20, had 3 girls right off the bat. And that became my life as a wife and a mom. And so, yes, in 2012, I had a memory recall where, you know, the body as a kid can only take so much abuse. So you got the physical, mental, and emotional abuse. And then, boom, I remembered, oh, that makes sense that I had sexual abuse. Okay. So I went to the counselor, and I thanked her after a couple of months, because the past is the past, and I did not know who I was. And so coming into this awakening of who's Andrea, and the fact that I even used my middle name as my name, Andrea Dawn. Growing up, I hated my middle name. I don't even know why. But I realized that dawn, you know, even the meaning of the word, right, is your awakening, the dawn, awaken,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so to me, it had such symbolism that at this time in my life, I started to get to know me. I started awakening to me. And that led me, you know, down a spiritual path where when I was married, I thought my marriage needed saving. So I became a Christian. And I'm actually very glad I did. I really love the Bible. I love Jesus and the apostles. And just channeled them the other day.
I was going to say, she channels a lot of these ascended masters, such as Jesus and Mother Mary, and a few others. I've heard her do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad I had that knowing, and that led me into this knowing, which I would go through everything that I went through, Karen, to be where I am today. And people are like, that's pretty harsh. You would never want your children to experience abuse. Right. If they came to the point where I'm at in a spiritual awakening, then that's the journey that we chose to go through. And so I feel, and everything that I've done my whole life, when I realized my remembering this part, reawakening the abilities and the you know, everybody has the ability. So mine just right now is very expanded. So all these entities and elementals and whatever you want to call them, and dimensions, wherever I go or whatever they decide to show me, seems very vast. And so I know that this journey led me to these things that I experienced is relatable, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. If I can awaken from all of that, anybody can. Bring it on. If you think, you know, I'm writing my book and I am telling my story. And, you know, a lot of people, if I were to tell you that I sold drugs in high school, what? Really? You? You sure don't look like that type of, right?
Right?
Can't picture, you know, you're a little too happy and preppy, and, you know, it's like, nope, I was very good at it too. And that's what I'm saying is that's my past. That's, you know, still makes me part of who I am today. And I still wouldn't change that either. And so this awakening, all these experiences that we had, we can let them dictate our life, or we can awaken from them and not even change, but grow back into, remember, reawaken, whatever all these words we want to use, open up. Because there's really no change. Don't change who you are. And that's what I also, the other word, yes, is it's awakening, because I don't want you to change who you are. You came in a specific way. And when the loved ones come through, they are still the same. Our personality is the same. So why would you want to change that? You know, if you're happy or you're loud, I always say, sometimes they'll come in large, and it's not that they're physically large, but they might be large, like the life of the party kind of large personality, you know? So sometimes knowing that about them, well, I already know I'm loud, so I'm going to be loud on the other side. You know, I know these things, so why would I want to try to be the quiet one? Or I have to accept that this is who I am and be okay with it.
I think you're talking about living your own authentic life. Let your authentic self emerge. Yes. Is that what you're talking about here?
Absolutely, yes.
So how would you tell somebody, what would you say is the first step to being authentic with yourself? What would be the first step that you can share with the audience?
You know, everybody has something different, and that's where I completely appreciate the channeling that I do, because it might be something different for somebody based on where they're already at. So maybe you're already on this spiritual path and you need a little boost to propel you or help you get somewhere else. So your guides will come in and say, we're right here, right? A loved one might need to come into someone who's just starting their path and saying, you can do this, we're here for you. Just take that first step in believing, in knowing that we're around. That spirit is around us, that we're not alone, right? That we want to call them ETs, the aliens. Is it that us or them? I don't know, but they're around. Everybody's around. So it's us going, oh, I can't see. I just have to go to work and do my American dream. That's right. And so whatever that first message is just start somewhere and knowing that, all I do is confirm. That's all I do, because everybody knows. And so that first step is, what do you know? And then it's not even that they have an answer, it's that they get confirmation of what they know. So that's how that works.
That's very well said. The guides tell me often that every answer you have or seek is within. And so they try to teach you that source is within, spirits within, this communication you're talking about, all this work is all within. And I'm hearing you say that's how you came to terms with yourself, your past. Many of us have to, we from the background that we might have suffered as a child. And so to come into our own is to go back inside, inside and accept that, right? I'm hearing you say that so profoundly. Yes.
And this comes up quite often. And I was doing a workshop and we're in the middle of a meditation and just this bullhorn sound comes and it says, forgiveness is a farce. And I'm in the middle of this meditation. Everybody's got their eyes closed and I'm like, what? What are you? No, I literally was like, beep, beep, back up the bus. I'm like, I am the queen of forgiveness. I had to forgive so many different people throughout my life. Like, are you kidding? I started getting frustrated. I said, I'm not talking about this right now. I'm like, nope. And I have my hands up, as you can see. I'm holding, because I had my hands up, and I'm the whole time. I know. I'm in the middle of a meditation. I'm holding space here, And
by the way, guys, she's giving these workshops. She's not just an attendee. She actually is giving the workshops. So you're hearing this, and you're like trying to hold the space.
Hold the space for everybody else. And so break came, and I'm like, I have to go to the bedroom. And I went in there, and I shut the door, and I sat on the bed, and I go, okay, I'm not leaving until we work this out. Like, I need to have some explanation. And so they said, Andrea, if you truly believe that everything happens for a reason, and that reason is here to support you, then everything that happened was because you asked that to happen. So instead of forgiving those people that did those things to you, you should be thanking them because they were able to fulfill that purpose on their side of the contract.
Oh my gosh, beautiful.
Oh, got it. But give me a couple days to really let this one sit in. I did. I understood what they were saying. I tell everybody all the time, everything happens for a reason. They go, oh yeah. I go, no, it's the other half. It's that reason is here to support you. And we can go, well, I don't know what's happening. And sometimes this happens. I'll go, I don't know what's happening. Not really sure if I really like it. However, I know it's here to support me. So I'm going to go through with it because there's something learned that I'm going to get out of this. So it's my own skin. It's my own humanness that will go, don't like it. But my spiritual side goes, bring it on, because it's going to help me to grow and awaken even more. And if you think about when you're truly awake, right, we could drink a bunch of caffeine. And what happens? We're ready to go. Come on. You were wide awake, right? So you can awaken in part, right? We first get up, we're a little groggy, and then we kind of get going, and so it's a process. I know someone who wakes up out of bed and goes, hello.
She's talking about me, guys.
Yes, I am. Because I remember saying, you wake up like this?
I wake up like this, and I look like this? No, just kidding.
That is a rarity, and I love it. Because
thank you. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yes, it is a huge compliment. I actually think about you when I wake up. I'm like, I'm going to be Karen today.
It's true, you guys. I don't know. I've always been like this my whole life. They know I have a lot of energy. Everybody on this channel that watches, they know.
Because you're very awakened. And so that's what this morning, I didn't even set the alarm, but it was like, okay, time to get up. I just got up and started doing, because when you're done, you don't need that sleep. You're awakened. And so as we are on this path, the more awakened we are. And my sister, one of my sisters who's a doctor, just confirmed for me. I was talking about my sleep patterns, and she said, I know I'm always getting 3. I know that specifically because I know when I'm going to sleep and then I wake up. So it's always 3 hours, and I say that they give me because I'm very busy at night. And she goes, studies show that now you only need 3 hours of sleep. And because that allows you to go through 2 REM cycles. And I was like, okay, thank you for at least giving me the 3 hours because I don't.
Because that's what you do. Very interesting. Now, you guys, I like to get 8 to 10 hours every night. I don't know what's going on, but I got to say, I do wake up, and I might wake up every few hours. And sometimes I wake up at 3 or 4, Andrea, and I will go outside and purposely communicate with the universe. I like to see the stars, and it's quiet, and the owls and the bird, not birds, owls and any kind of bird of prey or animals running around. I love that.
Right.
So that 3 hour thing is very fascinating.
It's very fascinating. And if we astral travel, if we're, doing spiritual work, as in my turkey video that I post on my YouTube channel, out of the blue.
By the way, her links will be below for her channels and websites, and she does do some really incredible posts. So make sure you check them out.
I was in Europe with this one particular sister, the doctor one, and we somehow had to go to Turkey for the night. And we were in Italy. At that time, we were in Croatia going back to Italy. So we actually went backwards to turn around and go right back over the Adriatic Sea. Right? I mean, literally, if we could have taken a boat, we would have been there. But we had to fly several, 2 hours to turn around and come back. So anyways, what we were told that next day was that they needed us energetically to be there. And not knowing, actually, I just saw a special on HBO, exactly what was happening in Turkey at the exact day that we stayed the night there. Fascinating. And they were on the verge of rioting. The whole country, was on the night we were there. And so there was protests, but the country itself. And so here we just fly right in, and we don't even know where we're staying. I mean, we know, but we don't know the vicinity. It's like real close to the airport. That's all we were concerned with. But we just don't know. This is the universe saying thank you for being this awakened vessel that you're going to go here to Turkey and help energetically this country not to be overthrown or riot or protesting out of control. So when I saw that HBO special, and I just saw it last month, the end of July, and I was with one of my daughters, and I said, "Oh my gosh!" We were in a hotel, and I said, "That's the night Joe Marie and I were there."
That's amazing.
God, it was amazing. So I didn't even know this until way later. We were there in April. I still didn't know. We knew that, but I didn't know the depth of what they were really doing.
Yeah, but I got to say this about Andrea, you guys. I want you to understand this, and maybe she can speak to us a little more about it. Ever since I've known her, and even what I've heard about her from before, she just gets a vision or gets the message or the words and follows. She doesn't go, what are all the details? What does this mean? What's this about? How am I going to do it? How am I going to pay for it? She just goes, okay, they're telling me right now I need to be here. They're telling me, and I've seen her do this, and she totally, you truthfully, deeply follow that, believe in it, and this is why you may not understand all the connective reasons of why you're being asked to do something sometimes. I think it's important, though, to trust that. So one of the things we should probably add to authentic life and also the awakening life is to trust that inner guidance, because it's never going to be against you. It's always going to be for you, but we may not understand it in the process. I mean, speak to that a little bit more, if you will.
Absolutely. That was when I was remembering my abilities. That was what my focus was, trusting and trusting myself, because I had a lot of things that I would say I wouldn't trust myself picking a man. Okay, so I was 26 years married, and I obviously, he did what he was supposed to, even though it was dysfunctional. So I thank him for that teaching as well. At the time, though, before you have this understanding to be thankful, you're like, oh, I can't pick a guy. I don't know how to do that. I'm not very good at it. Didn't have a boyfriend the whole time. I got married at 20. My rebellious teens were filled with encounters, lots of encounters. So, but when I realized that I had to thank him, then I thought, oh, I can trust myself. So it's little things like that. I can trust myself about, yes, I'm getting this message. Yes. Okay, it's not about me, so I just have to say it. And even if somebody goes, nope, that doesn't resonate with me, which doesn't happen very often, but it does, it's because they're not ready to hear that. But their guides want them, or whoever's giving the message. And I had to really trust that it's not about me. I'm just the one that gives this, I'm the voice.
You're the channel. You're the vessel.
The channel. Yes, I am the channeler. And so I go to another dimension to bring that information to us in this dimension. And so that trusting ourselves, that we all know we have a gut feeling. Everybody's got intuition. So that right there, if we could just start trusting when literally driving home one night, pouring down rain, and it was like God was in the back seat going, get off the freeway. I was like, what? Oh, God, okay. Wow. You know, I was coming home from a session, and I was so out of it, and it was really raining, and I was like, oh, man, I got to go the back roads home. But I got off, and then I started driving, and behind me comes this, like, monster truck, right? Too huge, and he's got his floodlights on. He lit up the whole road for me. I'm like, thank you. Okay, so I drove home, but I had to trust in that moment. I had to say, I'm getting off, and I'm going to be provided for, or I'm going to make it home. Everything's going to be fine. You know, next day I find out, of course, there was a major accident down the freeway. So I listened, because I probably would have been involved in that, so it just wasn't my time. But it's stuff like that, littler things, like, that we see a hummingbird and it makes us think of grandma, and we are like, no, that's not. Trust that little knowing right there. That's grandma going, hello, I'm here, and I'm showing you this beautiful hummingbird.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so even those little trust things where we just ignore. We want to say, oh, that's interesting, that's crazy, or dismiss it. But I didn't hear that. We did. No, I didn't.
Well, you touched on a great point. The awakening process is a journey that never ends for us, actually. And to get further and further with it, it's a matter of learning to trust. That's also learning to be your authentic self, to trust that. I got to back up a little bit here, because I love what you said about how you thanked your husband, and then all of a sudden you can start trusting yourself. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more how that piece, that pinnacle, how it switches from, not wanting to trust your husband to trusting your husband, and then all of a sudden finding that trust. Because I know I've been in situations myself where it's like, I when I was especially a lot younger, in my 20s and 30s, I don't trust myself maybe doing this or doing that, or picking a man, or all those kinds of things too. And for me, it was definitely been a process, but it was a process of going in. So maybe you can speak to that, how that switches from, because at first you're angry, to go to, I can thank you now, and then now I can trust myself.
Yes, and to accept that there's a process that we also go through. Divorce is treated like a death in a way, right? So the longer that you're married, you really are very, very connected. Yes, so you have to grieve that loss of that person being in your life, and go through whatever those process points are that they document, psychology-wise.
Right, steps of grieving, right.
Yes, and so... and then when you get to that point of, what did I learn? What was that process that I went through, whether it be 5 years, 25 years, or however long? What did I get out of that? What was my learning? Because it is about the relationship, but it's about us.
Yeah.
It's about trusting and loving. It's not, people go, well, that sounds selfish, because a lot of times their guides are saying, take care of you, or do something for you. Take a bath for yourself. Take a walk for yourself, by yourself. And say no, and all these things. And, that's selfish. No, it's called self-love. And so the self-love is, yes, what brings in that trust and that thankfulness that all your experiences are happening for a reason, and that reason was there to support you. So it's like, okay, how did that support me? What did I learn? Okay, I learned that I got 3 beautiful girls out of it, and I learned that these are the things in my next man. I don't like these things. I don't, like jealousy, or I want to be free to be me and not feel like I'm hiding parts of myself. So all these things I started realizing, and, being able to stand up for myself, because I closed my throat chakra off when I sexually abused at 2, and then later on in life, and then not telling anybody about my abilities, and then all these things. I was just like, I don't talk. But then I had a lot of anger, so I did a lot of other, yelling or something that would come out, but it wasn't my truth. My truth was not open. My truth, I call it my truth chakra, because it really is. It really is.
Speaking your truth from right here.
Speaking your truth.
Yes.
Yes. So every situation we go through, if we could just kind of glance back and ask ourselves, what was that? What was the message for me? What was I going to learn out of this? That also helps us to trust ourselves, honor ourselves, and love ourselves. Also, this analogy that they gave me in marriage, they go, "Oh, 2 halves make a whole. How beautiful!" And they showed me. They said, "No, it's not 2 halves. 2 wholes come together to make the infinity sign."
That's right. It's like that. Yeah. There we go.
Yes. Yeah. So you want half of you to show up. So what they're supposed to be the other half. That's a lot of expectations or demands that you put on somebody else to say, you're going to be my other half. Well, so you're not whole and complete, which we are always working on. That's part of the trusting and loving ourselves. And so, yes, you want to be perfect, whole, and complete so that whoever comes just adds to that. It's adding, and it's bringing more, and it's more love. And we think, how much more love can I get? Oh, bring it on.
So to attract a lot of love, you need to be love within yourself first. So what it is you want out here, become that within. This is part of the path of awakening again, or authenticity.
Authenticity. Authenticity is a great word right now because people are really, I lied. I lied about who I was, obviously.
It's easy to do that.
It's very easy to do that. So really, we're all living as liars.
Yes.
Because we are not truly being our authentic self. And we all know this because we have thoughts. I really wish that I, was free to even go to the tanning salon. Okay, but you don't feel like you can because this or this and this and all these things that you put on yourself. It sounds so silly, but this is the thoughts that we carry around with us constantly.
Yes.
And we just feel like we're not free to be ourselves. And even if it's something so small like that, and, there's judgment against it. There's this, people, blah, blah, blah. No, stop. If you want to do it, then do it. And enjoy doing it. It's if you want to have a glass of wine, have a glass of wine and enjoy it. If you're going to smoke that cigarette and enjoy it. The judgment that we feel and the criticism that we put on ourselves, and this is going to kill me. Well, you keep telling yourself it is, so guess what?
Right.
So this is the part where I know I'm very different. I came into the spiritual world. I kind of feel like I'm coming in and I'm like, rah, 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 rah. I don't have a lot. I haven't been doing it my whole life. And yet things that people will tell me, it's like, oh, yeah, I already knew that, but I didn't get it from a book or something. It's just something that they have showed me. And when I was a Christian, the first thing I said after the Lord's Prayer to be saved, I said, I just want to know the truth. That's all I want to know. I don't care who's teaching. I don't care who's on the pulpit. I want to know the truth, and that's it. So that is who I'm a truth seeker. And so kind of taking that premise, I did get kicked out of a church because I asked too many questions and was, pushing a little bit too hard. And that's okay, because that was me knowing, okay, obviously I'm reading the Bible and it's not making sense. So I need some answers. And then I started going to the source myself and I was getting answers. So, and then I'd be like, this is what I got. Oh no, that's not what it says. Well, this is what I got though. You're not the teacher. You're not.
Oh, be quiet now. Listen to what our dogma tells you to believe. Okay.
That's right. So,
get in or get out,
You might not be a good fit here. You're right.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And I'm happy that happened. So what I'm saying is this truth. What is your truth? What's your authentic self? That is your truth. That is your awakening. The more you go and seek out who you are, what you like to do, without fear of any judgment or criticism that we allow to come in, start being yourself. I say this all the time. I'm okay with being crazy. This is not the norm yet. We are getting there.
Orange is the new black.
That's right. So we are getting to this place of awakening. A lot of us are. And some people are just like, oh, I'm ready. No, I'm doing it no matter what. And then boom, they're just, all things are coming to them because this is the time. It's, the veil is thin and the energy is rising and we're all rising. And so it's just very beautiful to see that this all is happening right now. And
yes.
we all have this wonderful capability. We have wonderful support. And you're not going to agree with everything. Read a book. Take whatever it is out of it that's for you. You don't have to believe or sense that everything is in there is what you are supposed to do. Start trusting yourself. Okay, yeah, that resonated with me. The other stuff, not so much. So I spent a lot of money going around to teachers, and then I got confused because some of it wouldn't resonate. And I'm like, well, am I supposed to feel this? No,
yeah.
I can't. Yeah, it's not for me, so I can't own it. So
yeah, it's important to, what I hear Andrea saying, this is so important that we just take different stuff in, really do your research and study, but only use what works for you, because we all have our own unique abilities, our own unique life, our own unique way of seeing the world, our own unique perceptions. So it's important. I think that's very well said. Okay, what's really interesting too about what you're talking about, Andrea, is like we were in Sedona during the Lion's Gate thing. It was the lunar eclipse and then the full solar eclipse. And this is the time that was the time to really awaken to who you are, your authentic self, awaken. There's that word again. But now we're in a period afterwards, the aftermath, where it's supposed to really be true to yourself. Is that what you're getting to, Andrea?
Yes, and a little more.
Oh, give us some. Give us some.
I have been shown that this leading up to September 23rd is we're in a little lull until actually I think we're out of it. What's the date today?
The Mercury went retrograde. Yeah, changed, went direct.
Yes, and so now it's going to start rising again, and we've seen some solar flares kind of coming up. So. And that changes, alters electronics even, more so people's moods all of a sudden can switch. So just being really aware that ride this spiritual high right now. Get on the spiritual wave. This is a great time. Paddle out and catch the wave. It is a great time right now. And I'm not sure what's going to happen for September, but I do know that even October is got some fun things happening as well. And I say fun because if it raises the vibration, and those of us who are on that path and we start really just tuning in and everything that happens, just know that this is for your good, that right, it is here to support you. It will shift you. It's almost instant manifestations. Yes, so it's real exciting times.
It's a great time to be as authentic with yourself as you can, to really trust yourself, to step out there outside of your box, outside of anything that's limiting you, and really go, I'm going to push myself over the edge, over the precipice a little bit, because I'm going to expand myself. You've got such supportive energy right now, you guys. I'm getting the same thing from my guides. I'm hearing it all over the place, but I'm also hearing it from my guides, my sessions. We experienced that in Sedona. And yeah, I want to say too, you don't have to be in these spiritual vortex places to do this work, and that's what she's telling you, right?
Yes, I am. Wherever you are is where it can happen. And so, yes, you can travel to those places to maybe experience a different dimension, but start right in your own home. Get yourself a space that you just feel wonderful. I have all my crystals.
Yes, what do you have here? Show us.
Yes, my 2 John of God that I got in John of God, and then I got some Andrea ones that I've picked up, which are super strong, and I've got some Andrea rings and Moldavite, and this one right here is real special because St. Francis came to me and
is that
told
amethyst?
It is amethyst. It's
gorgeous.
From Brazil. Yeah, and then the other thing, I don't use this all the time, but it is my pendulum.
Whoa, that's like a giant heart-shaped snowflake or something.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like a clover, and it's just beautiful crystal. I also got this in Brazil.
You did? I didn't see that. Oh my gosh.
We walked in this store, and I literally walked to the right and went, yep, that's what I'm here for.
Is that the store where we all went in and ended up getting all that jewelry? Or was it a different store?
It was
gentleman,
wonderful.
because this right here, I got this one at
Did
John
you?
and God Brazil. Yeah, at that store.
Yeah.
So I love that store. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was great. And my triangle that I like mine upside down. Yes,
yeah. Oh, you like yours upside? Well, that's like a feminine symbol, isn't it? The vulva, where the masculine is more of the triangle piece pointing up, and together they make a star tetrahedron. I have mine as well. Those are represent John of God's work. Yes, and we had one of the entities sign it.
Yes, we did, and even the I have a
stop. Look.
Yeah.
Stop. You guys, I gotta tell you, this is my favorite deck, and I gotta tell you, she turned me on to this deck. Okay, so I started talking to the Guardians again, and I had spoke to them when I was a child. They had been out of my life, but when I was there, we were pulling cards every day, every night. It was just such a wonderful time. And she brought this deck, and the first card I pulled was the Guardians. And I was like, you guys, this is what this means to me. And then the Guardians started coming and talking to me. Anyway, this deck is phenomenal. Andrea, thank you for introducing me to it.
You're welcome. Yeah. And so these things you can use to help you bring in some energy. Okay. Trust that if you walk into a rock store that if one calls out to you, and they will, I mean, you're just drawn to something, don't think about the price, because this is here to open you up. That energy vibration is coming to you. And so honor it and say, this one's for me. This one's mine. Yep. You had for all you guys. I'm getting this one.
So don't deny it and go, oh, that rock just talked to me. Don't deny that. Go, oh, the rock just talked to me. Right on, I'm getting you. I'm coming, honey.
Yep. And then that's the one that you need for right now. Or you pull a card. Ask before you pull a card. Say, what do I need to know today? Just to give you some direction or enlightenment. Obviously, talk to your loved ones every morning. Ask them for guidance and support or clarity. They'll try to awaken you. They'll show you things to remind you of them so that you can snap out of whatever you're thinking, because we all have these thoughts. And so just know that they're there as well. There's a lot of tools. So whatever works for you. It's not that everything has to work, or you'll go in different modes. So you'll maybe want to do cards for a little bit, or then you'll want to do the pendulum, or you'll just hold on to a crystal. You
or the Ouija board, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So whatever modality that you choose to use to get your own messages until you really start trusting yourself, and then it just grows, and then that's when it's there. So then it will just come in and it will say, move to LA October 2nd. Do not delay.
Listen, this happened to her, you guys. She's in process with this right now, I'm telling you. She lives in Northern California right now.
Yes. And literally they said, you can pack on the 1st, you will leave on the 2nd. I'm like, well, that's very specific. I will be out the door on the 2nd, I promise. I'm like, I'm not missing this. Whatever's coming, I don't know. So whatever the opportunity that is happening, they are definitely guiding me. So that is part of that trust and building this up, building your trust up. Because the more that you could trust yourself, the more that they know that they can give you these messages with distorting them or not
censoring them. I was given some messages from my spirit guides, and I was doing readings for people, and I was asked to give a certain message to a woman I knew, and I read it and I go, oh no, I gotta censor that. And they go, wait. Why would you censor something and not trust that maybe she's open to hear this? Why would you take that experience from her, regardless of her reaction? I thought, what the heck was I thinking? That's like my ego getting into it, going, I got to coddle her and make it special and change the message. And they said, no. Your job is not to get involved in the message. It's to be the transmitter, receiver, and just the messenger. Hermes Trismegistus, I'm Mercury. I'm just giving the message to people. And I love what you say about that, because when we receive stuff ourselves, it's for us to hear it and do it and follow it and act on it, as you're saying so eloquently.
Yes, and the not asking, because I did do that for a while. Well, I call myself the proverbial 2-year-old, because when I was learning about my abilities, I did a lot of why. I mean, when I truly remembered I could talk to those that had crossed over, I was like, oh gosh, wait, why? Wait, what am I supposed to do with it now? Well, and so I had all these questions like, oh my gosh, does it change my life? So, and it did, obviously, and they knew it was the time for me to remember. And those things don't even matter, because even if we think we want to know the how, what, when, where, if, why would we want to put it in a box, right? God in a box. Because what if it's something even more than you could ever imagine? And we just said, yeah, this is how it's going to happen because I know I'm here on Earth and I know.
Well, we
So,
can limit it. We can limit ourselves from having that
oh,
experience and from also
that,
expanding out into the greatest self we can be. I mean,
yes,
yeah, we got to watch it. I know that's something I work on every day.
yes,
Any limitations I might impose and things when I hear in my head. So I was going to say along those lines, when you're learning to do this work and you're opening up little by little, let me show you my stack of books. So these are all different kinds of journals I keep. And of course, I always have crayons on, well, they're actually cray paws, oil pastels. But I'm telling you, I got different journals. This one went to Sedona with me. It's like I have ideas in here, things I'm working on, books I
yes,
might read, things I'm going to draw, whatever. This is my personal journal. It's my daily journal. I use it so much I had to keep a rubber band around it. This is my journal now. I'm channeling these new beings. This is their dedicated journal to them. And I work with them every day, and they ask me to draw pictures and write, and you know what? That's what I do. And then, this is my journal I use that has to do with like meditations I'm working on and maybe some real cool dream, or I might see a show and I think I want to work on those items I talked about. So seriously, you guys, I can't stress enough the importance of really keeping records of this stuff. And you guys all know when I do any spirit session with the board, I'm keeping copious notes because over time you're going to see the consistency of the messages and also see the golden thread that's been showing you throughout all these messages and ideas that are coming through. And this is one way to remember it and validate it and say, oh yeah, that's what they said. Oh yeah, that's the message I got. Oh yeah, this is what happened. I mean, what do you think about journals and note keeping and stuff of that nature?
that it's interesting you asked me because I don't write in mine consistently. I get a lot of visions. I get a lot of dreams. And even when they're happening, I'll say, can I remember this? Can I write it down? And they'll be like, no, not right now. And I'm like, if I can't do it right now, then I won't remember. And so I know that for me,
what works for you? This is good.
It absolutely, because I really struggled with it. I wanted to write stuff down. I love writing. I'm almost
just write
done
a book.
Yeah, I'm almost done with my book, and so I've always been like a great writer. I loved doing that, and now it's like I go back and I'm all, gosh, I haven't written it in so long. I'm like, let me just put something in there, And so I quite haven't got the full knowledge yet as to why I don't get to write it down. However, if something needs to come through, I trust that they're going to have whatever that was at that moment, it'll come through and that message will be given. So there is that point where I did have to release that and not get so hung up that I wasn't writing my stuff down, because it really, it felt counterproductive, or almost counterintuitive to me to not be able to, because in the beginning I was writing stuff down, all the dreams and all that stuff, and you always hear it from teachers, write down, and then here's me going, yeah, and I even will tell people, your guide's telling you that you need to journal.
See, okay, so I think the important part here is everybody has their own path. This has been mine, and I talk about this all the time, and I can't go anywhere without one of my journals with me. I even took it to Africa and Sedona and all these places I go. But the bottom line is, you don't want to feel guilty over it either. So what I'm hearing is
exactly
right. Okay.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes. So it is. I mean, the messages are all out here. So, and I'm so thankful that you do write yours down, because then, that leads you on your paths, right? So you got to just know whatever it is that does work for you is very, very important. That doesn't resonate. Okay. And don't judge the ones that do or don't. It's just what it is.
That's great. And so I was specifically told with this last group of guys, they said, we want you to hear, see, and feel, and then and sketch. And they said, and write everything down. So these guys are wanting me to, because it's going to be a book. Yes. And they're telling me about their existence in another dimension and what their life's like, but also how to open up your third eye. So it's some really cool stuff. And I cannot believe the stuff they're telling me. And this is all channeled. This is not through a board. Oh, that's channeling too. This is all through them coming to me directly, and I'm experiencing them. Different strokes for different folks, but I think the key here is what's going to help you to start, as Andrea's been sharing with us, when these things start coming, the messages, the deceased loved ones talking to you, maybe your future self is talking to you, maybe past lives are coming through, maybe your pets are talking to you, maybe the rock at the crystal shop's talking to you. It's just ways to begin to validate that for yourself so you can trust, trust, and trust.
Yes.
Right?
Really, yes. I cannot stress that enough, just like you did. Literally, trusting is that first step. And that trust allows you to love yourself. So loving and honoring and trusting are really three that just go together. When you do one, you're doing the other two. And so they're really not separate from each other. So the more that you do this for yourself, the more things, experiences, creations will come to you because you start opening yourself up. Yeah. You are becoming more awakened.
Oh, and that's gosh. I don't even know what to say after that. That was beautiful. So tell me this, we're coming to the end of our interview. Where can people find you? And of course, everybody, all the links are below to come find Andrea Dawn, but tell them a little bit about what's coming up for you, your websites. I know she's all over social media, guys.
I am. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then I have a YouTube channel, and I upload my videos. In fact, when I get done here, I'm supposed to go do another one that when I was in San Francisco. So my website is awakenings with AndreaDawn.com. I'm also on AndreaDawn.org, AndreaDawn.net, and they will all lead you back to the main website. And Andrea Dawn on Facebook, and same thing, just repetitive through Twitter and Instagram as well. And what's happening is, I'll be moving to LA, and haven't quite got the full picture yet of what that all looks like. I'm going to be doing phone sessions or one-on-ones down in LA for those people down there, and phone sessions for my clients that are still here in Northern California. And just really excited because I know something is going to happen. And so I don't know what, but I'm just super excited about it. So I'm ready to pack up and move. So just kind of biding the time. I'm grandbaby due in a couple of days. So
this will be your second.
First.
This is her first. Oh, that's right. She has 3 kids. She's the first grandbaby. Oh my gosh. I also saw that you have a couple events coming up this month in September up in North.
I do. Yes, one's actually already just sold out. I found out last night. So there's only one more that I have, a public one, September 14th, and that's actually in Placerville,
I saw
California.
That, yeah.
Yes, and that's on my website as well. And I don't have any other workshops scheduled, although we'll be working on another one coming up. And we actually might have it in Southern California now. So, yeah, so that would be kind of fun to have it down there. And back to Sedona, that's my girlfriend Robin and I do them together. So we were talking about maybe doing another Sedona one or possibly somewhere else.
Well, she does the Sedona one. Be sure to go. She guided us, the other 3 of us that went along with her, around some really interesting vortex energies, and it was a wonderful time. And Andrea, when she's doing her work, she just all of a sudden goes, "Okay, I'm getting something. I want to sit here and tell you." And the readings and the messages just come, and it's really quite inspiring. So that's if you have a chance to do one of our workshops, definitely do. It's been such a pleasure having you on my show, and I really am enjoying our friendship. She's such a lovely person, as you can tell. What final words would you like to share with the listening audience about anything we talked about today that you think is super important that they do need to hear?
I want to really stress that the divine feminine energy is rising, and that divine feminine energy is love and compassion based and grows with this. And we are so ripe as this Gaia right now to receive this, be this, and produce more of it. And so when I say the energy is rising, it's this energy, and we have to have a balance. And we've been off balance, so that's why this one's really rising to bring this back. And so I encourage everybody to really start, when you're becoming more awakened to your authentic self, there's just more unconditional love that will come from you, where you don't judge people because you know they're on their journey. And that's what they're supposed to experience, whether it's the homeless guy on the corner, that's his journey, that's what he chose. Or, it's Bill Gates. That's what he chose. And so it's their journey as well. And so just knowing that wherever we're at on the spectrum, this is our journey. And this rising feminine energy, we can tap into this to bring more love and compassion to all of our human fellow beings that we share this planet with.
Very well said. And I always want to say awakening is equal to love, just simply put. Again... Thank you so much, Andrea, for being on our
Thank
show.
you.
And I really
Thank
appreciate
you
our
very
time
much.
together. So there
You
you
too.
had, everybody. This was a woman who's been really working on her own personal path of authenticity. She's, looked at herself, who she really was inside, and said, okay, I can love that and I can thank that. And now I can be truly who I am to be in this world. And trust me, she hears these messages and she goes and she does and she follows and she listens. The best path to always follow is the path of yourself within. And she does that. So thank you so much for joining us today. This was Creative Visions TV, and I'm your host, Karen Dahlman. Now get out there and explore that vast universe that's there waiting for you to touch and go in authenticity. Thank you again.